Working with SQL Server. SQL Server, when you install the SQL Server, at the installation time, means when you completed the SQL Server installation, it will ask you give the instance name. Means you want to create one instance name by default, because to store the databases into the server we need instance is nothing but an object. We have to create an instance when you install the SQL Server. After completion of the installation, it will ask the one instance name by default, and we have to give the name of the instance, and it will create one instance memory like this. In this instance memory, we will it may be create different types of databases in the instance memory. In a single instance memory, it can be maybe 32,767 databases can be created in the memory. To store the databases, we need instance, and it will create one instance memory for that. And in that instance memory, we have to create the databases into that. And let us discuss about the SSMS tool. SSMS tool is the major tool that is used in the MS SQL Server database. It is a developing tool, means when you create these databases, in the databases, to store the tables into the databases, we want to perform some operations on the table. For that one, we need this tool that is called SSMS tool, and there are different types of tools, we will discuss them after. But this the SSMS tool is a developing tool that is mainly used for this SQL Server. For to run this SSMS tool, we need CUI and GUI DB operations. By these two types, based on our requirement, we will take this CUI and we perform this DB operations. What are the DB operations like this? Create, insert, delete, update, select. These operations that will be performed on the databases by using this SSMS tool. This is a MS SQL Server Management Studio. When you install the SQL Server in your local machine, after completion of the SQL Server installation, we need to create one instance memory to create databases into that. After creation of the databases, you perform some operations by using the SSMS tool. Before that, we need to connect with these server types, then only it will access that and gives the instance memory for that, and it will give that you to create the database into that and perform some operations on that, and to create tables into that particular databases. First of all, we need to connect with these server types. So we will discuss all this, uh, what are the types of servers are there, and what is the importance of that. We will discuss all. Let us connect with database engine now. When you connect with the server type is database engine, it will ask you server name. By default, we will create this server name and authentication. There are different types of authentication based on our requirement. We will uh, take this. When Windows authentication, we don't need username and password, but when you use this SQL Server authentication, you need login and password, and this will be for verification for the SQL Server. And when you this will be enabled when you connect to this. Azure also is there for when you log in into the uh, Azure one, then you can easily access that, and that for authentication you need username, and for that you need whatever the user name you give in the Azure, that will be given on this, then it will connect. After completion all this, you need to connect with that, and it will connect to that server. Let us discuss these database engine services, all these things. These are the types of servers. Server types are mainly four types. One is database engine, analysis services, reporting services, integration services. First of all, what is database engine? This is a first main core of the SQL server. To perform some operations on the tables, we need database engine. As I said that SSMS tool, it is a developing tool to interact with the database engine. We need SSMS developing tool. For that only the database engine can be performed. The main purpose of this database engine is first to store the large amounts of tables into the, we need database engine, like to store the data. Where we need to store, how to need to store means, we need to store in tabular format like rows and columns, and also to perform some operations like processing the data, like this one, like processing some data. Processing means what? Here processing means operations, performing operations on the table, that is processing, and security to the table. This is the main purpose of the database engine. And to interact with this database engine type, we need SSMS developing tool. Let us discuss with the analysis services. Analysis services is mainly used to store the data in a data warehouses. It is in the format of 3D, means, whereas I said this database engine is in tabular format that stores the data in a database. It is table means rows and columns, means it is a 2D. Whereas in analysis services it is a 3D format. For visualization purpose we need these analysis services. It is also called as SSAS. This will be we need to interact with these analysis services. Then we need MSBI tool. This is also a popular tool to interact with these types of servers. We need this MSBI tool. What is the remote reporting services means? Reporting services that exports the table into the document format, we need the reporting services type. For example, there is a SQL server. In the SQL server there is a database, and we means we create a database in that SQL server. After creation of the database in the SQL server, and create another table into the database, the table is employee. This employee table consists of columns like employee ID, employee name, salary. This table exporting into the document format like MS Word or MS Excel. Based on our requirement, it will exporting into the document. When we need to export the tables into the document format, then we need this reporting services. And integration services. Integration services is also called as SSIS. To interact with this integration services, we need MSBI tool. how this will be performed means, for example, there is an MS SQL server. To convert this SQL server into a another server, then we need this integration server. Means we need to uh, transfer, we need to convert into one server into the another server, then we need this integration server. Integration, these are the four types of server types, and database engine is the core one to the SQL server. That to interact with this we need SSMS developing tool. For these three are different from the database engine, and these three services can be interacted by using this MSBI tool. Based on this only we can interact with these three services, and these are the main types of servers in the MS SQL Server. These are the main. We discuss all these things. How, what are the purpose of this, and why we use this all. And this is a Azure. When you log in with an Azure, we can also access these Azure storage, Azure SSIS integration runtime. We can also access these them when you log in into the Azure.